I'm Daniel So, and I'm the Director of Culture for Cyclical Incorporated. At Cyclical, everything we do comes back to our why statement: God's love for the world, inspiring faithful innovation through the church. One way we've nurtured faithful innovation over the years is through starting new churches. In our increasingly diverse post-Christendom society, it makes less and less sense to commit to a one-size-fits-all approach or to promise 5 easy steps to church planting. Certainly, the church faces many challenges in our current moment. However, instead of despairing at dwindling church attendance numbers or the challenges of a post-pandemic society, or pining for the good old days of cultural Christianity, which, as it turns out, were not so good for all of us, we've done our best to follow the leading of the Holy Spirit to discern new ways of starting new churches. Rather than supporting the church planting industrial complex or zeroing in on one archetype of who would be considered a successful church planter, we seek to build gardens where many different types of plants can thrive. We need not only a greater number of churches, but we need a broader variety of expressions of faith and a wider diversity of women and men who lead these faithful innovations. Cyclical has launched over 20 ecosystems in 10 countries around the world, representing over 1,100 leaders and more than 100 faithful innovations. These ecosystems provide the multi-tiered relational support that faithful innovators need to thrive. We create regular rhythms of gathering for people discerning God's call to start a new thing, for those who have already begun the work of faithful innovation, and for other leaders who want to come alongside this work. These monthly gatherings create space for mutuality, kinship, and learning. We also connect faithful innovators to coaches, therapists, and spiritual directors. One phrase I love hearing from many different leaders across various cyclical ecosystems is, "I didn't know I could do this." Years ago, as my wife Jaya and I were discerning God's call to start a new church, I remember being informally assessed by a church planting coach who was looking for something specific, namely an extroverted, type A, assertive crowd gatherer. Since I did not check a single one of those boxes, he was kind of astonished at me, wondered why in the world I would even attempt something like this, and declared that I would not be a good fit. In the years since, thankfully, particularly through my multi-tiered relational connection with many leaders throughout Cyclical, I've seen that God calls all kinds of people, including myself, to lead all kinds of contextual, spirit-led, faithful innovations. My wise and lovely wife Jaya, with whom I'm honored to co-pastor our new worshiping community, offers this important reminder. The greatest risk we face is not attempting something new and failing. The risk is simply choosing the status quo and missing out on what God is doing. If you sense God's call to start a faithful innovation, and this leader-forward, post-industrial, highly pneumatological, multi-tiered relationship network approach makes sense to you, we'd love to hear from you. Grace and peace be upon you.